it feels flimsy, thin to me, Stugotz, what Jessica is saying. She's not wrong, but it just feels flimsy to me in argument culture, in debate culture, that if I disagree with person X's opinion, all I'm going to do is say that person is irrelevant or say, who the hell is that person? I don't care. But it is in line with things getting, it seems to me, just a little bit dumber all over. And one of the places it has gotten just a little bit dumber all over is where it is that you, I'm asking everyone in the audience here when I say you, get your comedy and how you get your comedy. Because Shane Gillis went on Saturday Night Live this weekend, and he said to the audience there, you probably don't even know who I am, because there are a whole lot of comedians like Shane Gillis who occupy a different space from in the audience at Saturday Night Live. It's a growing space. It's a freer space than the mainstream. There are a whole bunch of podcasts in the top 100 by comedians who have giant economies around them, and it's not the mainstream. Shane Gillis goes on Saturday Night Live, and I told you, Stugotz, before the pandemic, I saw Louis C.K. before Louis C.K.'s troubles on Saturday Night Live, and this is a stand-up comic at the very top of his game. And I don't remember what the three topics were. I think he went Israel, Palestine, pedophilia, and then some other third-rail topic effortlessly as the monologue on Saturday Night Live. And I couldn't believe how well he did that subject matter because it seemed hugely pressurized. Shane Gillis got celebrated this weekend for saying gay, saying retard, and doing Down syndrome stuff. He also said cracker in like a 20-second span, and then said most of my stuff doesn't even work on television. He said, I can't do most of my material on television, but he was being celebrated as someone who was pushing boundaries. Yeah, I mean, not particularly well compared to what it is that I'm talking about, even though the monologue was fine and the most pressurized situation of his career, because that seemed to me, as I was watching it before, it seemed like a big nervous situation at the start. And it seemed, and he said so, that he's never been that nervous. It seemed like a ton of pressure to go from, you were let go by Saturday Night Live before your career started, when people started digging into your podcast past, and now people have a problem with Saturday Night Live because you've gone to the front of the line, and in the 5 years of cancel culture doesn't actually exist and can actually help your career. He got to host Saturday Night Live the way Eddie Murphy did when he was their star cast member by not being on Saturday Night Live. Did any of you see it? Because I thought it was a good monologue. Like, I thought he's funny. I thought he was funny, and it was a real difficult situation for him.
It is, and when you are basically not into somewhere, not let in somewhere because of something that you've done, but then they also kind of bend the knee and allow you to cut the line and host and let you do the things that you're great at. His Trump, I thought the Trump sneaker skit was really funny. Like, he does an excellent Trump. There's things that Shane does in pockets that are really good. And yeah, it's an impossible spot for him to be there and be like, all right, I'm me, you know the story, but I'm here and I'm going to try to make you laugh, even though it's kind of weird.
Do you guys agree with me, though, that they're not the same people? The Saturday Night Live audience is not necessarily the audience where Bert Kreischer and
Who is the Saturday Night Live audience, honestly? Like, is it because I
think
feel
it's just
like
people who want to go and have viewed it as something historically cool. Like, I don't know that there's that many people who are showing up specifically for a host.
But do people like watch it like live still? Because I feel like it just now lives as like social clips, doesn't it?
Yeah, like every other show.
Yeah. So who's this audience?
Oh my gosh, a Notre Dame game went late a couple years ago on NBC, and it went straight into SNL, and it was like a jump scare. I was like, ah! Where's the remote? Get it off! I don't want to watch this. Bedtime. 3 hours ago.
Realistically, it's I think it's a cool thing, right? When you are a person that is not able to do something and then you're now able to do something because of what you've done in the back end to grow your career, I see it as a really cool thing, regardless of what, clouds the situation. Like, I like Shane. I've gone to see Shane live. Like, he's right. The things that he does in person, he cannot do on TV. But that's who he is. And like, it's either you like Shane Gillis or you don't. And it's okay if you don't. It's just that's what it is.
Most stand-up comedians are going to sanitize what it is that they do for a general nationalized audience on SNL. What's weirder and seemingly more concerning, because I watched the monologue too, and I thought it was funny. I didn't think anything was really too over the line. He used the words that you mentioned, and now the right wing on Twitter in particular is celebrating the fact that he used those words as if he used them maliciously.
But this is why I'm
He
saying
just used them.
This
Just
is why
used
I'm
them.
saying all of these conversations and everything around this is getting just slightly dumber by degrees. Like when I'm telling you that what Louis C.K. did was on subject matter that's hard, and that Shane wasn't doing that. He wasn't actually pushing any of the boundaries that he pushes as someone who's in a bit of disguise, Stugotz, because he's getting the Bud Light promos, because Bud Light has had its business actually crater. Bud Light has been damaged and is now trying to correct it by giving money to UFC, by giving money to Shane Gillis, who identifies as everyman but is in costume. Like, I think that if I had to check Shane Gillis's actual politics, I think they would be closer to mine than the average person on the conservative side, but he's sort of playing on the line.
He is, and I think that's where the brilliance of Shane is. Like, I'm going to make fun of this. You don't really know where I stand. I told you I'm pre-Republican because I think about World War II. And, like, he has those bits that kind of stray the line of where he really is. But at the end of the day, like, again, it's two camps, and I don't want to hark on it, but it's like either you get it and you like what he does or you don't, right? Like, there's people here that I have conversations with, Matthew Kugler, who doesn't like Shane. He's like, I think he takes a joke too far. And I'm like, hey, I get that. But I like that part about it, right? Like, that to me makes me laugh, so.
I feel like we're overthinking this. They didn't want him to host the show before because he said bad things.
We overthink everything.
And now he's just hosting the show because he's popular and they want the
He was
bump
going
of
to be
his
on the
fans.
show. He's going to be one of the characters and one of the people. So
Yeah, he was going to
obviously-
be on the show before.
Right.
I know. And then he got
Right.
fired because of the things that
Yeah,
he
'cause
said.
he said offensive
and
shit.
now he's popular and they said, you know what, never mind. We don't really care about them. We don't have morals after
It didn't-
all.
it didn't
and then
hurt
they
his-
brought him in for
Well,
They had,
popularity.
they
That's
had
like when they
Nikki
brought-
Haley on 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and they brought Morgan Wallen back like 3 weeks after he said the N-word. It's
They
not
had
like
Trump
this is a
on.
standard.
It didn't hurt his career at all to be let go. It probably sucked at the time. I'm
Probably
sure
helped
it
his
did.
career.
But no, it did. It did end up helping his career. And now Saturday Night Live needs those ratings bumps. They need to take more chances than that because they are not the cultural influencer they were, because so many people react the way that Jessica does, because any Saturday Night Live conversation you hear these days is about how it's not what it used to be.
But to Jess's point, it made it more controversial on Twitter, right? And so now the engagement with the SNL clips is there because you have all of these people on the right propping up what this monologue was and all of these things. And then you have all of the people potentially on the left, I haven't seen very much of it, talking about this SNL because, oh man, he was fired and he said this. And they're trying to sort of trek in that divisiveness where Shane is almost in some ways the exact opposite of that, and that he's trying to just sort of toe the line between you don't really know what I think. Whether or not he's funny, I haven't watched all that much of Shane Gillis's stand-up.
No,
but
he's funny.
The monologue was fine, and it wasn't all of the things that now people are trying to make it.
You can argue that he's bigger now, right? Like, since his fiasco back at that point, he's more popular now than anybody on the SNL cast across the board.
That's correct.
Put some respect on Kenan Thompson's name.
I mean, Keenan's been doing it for a great time. Compiler, he's been there forever, not the point. But yeah, he has been a compiler one.
Really?
I mean, that's just my opinion.
Aren't
is
the
that?
hosts always more famous than the
Yeah.
cast members?
Yes,
Yeah, that's
but
the point.
This one is different, though. Like, he was supposed to be a cast member. Now he's so big that he is now a host, not a cast member. He's bigger than every cast member that's there.
But that's no different than some of the like writers who go, like John Mulaney was a writer for the show that nobody knew, and then he went on to have a stand-up career, and he comes back and he's hosted it like 5 times, I think. And so it's because they get to go be so much more famous through stand-up comedy.
When I talk about individual brands, though, Stugotz, throughout media being something that's helping media crumble, I'm talking about here. I'm talking about Saturday Night Live needs Shane Gillis for a night more than Shane Gillis needs Saturday Night Live for a night. I mentioned this about Shannon Sharp a while ago, Stugotz. Very quietly, Skip Bayless is going to be out of a job soon because his ratings have tanked because individual brands have helped take the marketplace to a totally different place where you follow the people you like, the people who say the things that you want them to say a little bit more than you follow credible news organizations because of how all of this is fracturing. But speaking of comedy here, I want to show you what the Pelicans, the New Orleans Pelicans, did to Stephen A. Smith on their social media account after Stephen A. Smith. I think the reason for this, correct me if I'm wrong, is the reason for this because Stephen A. Smith said, made a bunch of hamburger jokes at the expense of Zion Williamson, and so this is how the Pelicans react to it.
Now, this man was a bona fide scrub. He can't play. No disrespect whatsoever, but I'm sorry to tell everybody the truth. The man cannot play the game of basketball. He has small hands. He can't catch the ball. He's got bad feet. He can't really move, even though he's mobile. Doesn't really know what he's doing. Doesn't have a post move that he puts to memory that he can do 2 times in a row. He has no game whatsoever. Plays no defense. Doesn't have the heart, the passion, or anything that comes with it.
I need to explain to the audio audience that what you were hearing there was accompanied by video of Stephen A. Smith falling down while on a basketball court recently and shooting an air ball, and then was finished with his point totals from college, which were a point a game, and then the Wilt Chamberlain photo of him holding up, instead of 100 points, 1.5, his average scoring average in
He was
college.
boxing, too, at some point.
He had dress shoes on. That's a tricky game on a basketball
dangerous
court.
game, yeah.
It means right, though. There's nothing funnier than someone falling down. I laughed out loud, like guffawed.
When he fell down
like,
on the court.
Tough first pitch there, too.
Yes, there was. It was bad video of him
harder
being
than it looks.
unathletic.
I don't think I could do better, but
You don't think you can do better than the bounced first pitch?
It's long.
it would be close.
It's tough, Dan.
You're throwing off a mound. It's at an angle. It's a whole thing.
You ever step on a bump? I mean,
Yeah.
Gotta zip one in there, guys. Come on. Throw a BB right down the plate.
I don't think that's hard.
Oh, come on,
Oh,
Dan.
jeez.
Come on.
I could throw an orange 100 yards.
Marlins, challenge to you. Get Dan Le Batard throwing out a first pitch.
First pitch, guys.
Have you ever done it?
Yeah.
I haven't. I don't think it's
Well,
hard.
Let's
Off
do
the
it.
bump, it's...
I am looking forward to finding out the details before I call Chris Wittyngham a coward on why it is that he was broadcasting a game the other day after making such a big deal around here in our little playpen about why don't national and international broadcasters just say the word penis when someone gets hit in the penis. It's a scientific term. It's anatomy. It's not a dirty word. It's just science. And he had his opportunity, evidently, this weekend to do it. We're going to play the video and the audio here, but somebody gets hit in the junk, and all of our listeners who heard it pointed out, like, what is this? I thought Wittyngham was the brave soul who was going to lead a pioneering revolution on behalf of the word penis.
Let me stop you right there, Dan, because you just said junk. Why did you say junk and not penis?
Because I've been grandfathered in from a previous time of cowardice, and his movement hasn't caught any strength or wind. His movement is
Even
just
amongst himself.
died. But he was the one saying he was going to be a principled penis pioneer.
Yeah, but he's on CBS now. I mean,
PPP.
yeah.
Paramount. But the thing is, it's tough because when you're broadcasting, right, and the ball ricochets into that area, there's
area?
into the
Coward?
penis.
No, but this is what I'm trying to say. Because it may not hit you in the penis.
No.
It may hit you in the nuts.
This wasn't.
It may not
an
hit you in the
accurate-
penis.
This wasn't
so
an
like,
accuracy thing. This is he's brave when he's on this show, and then he's
I
there
think-
doing like the real broadcaster thing. He's like, I can't do that.
Has anyone had an other opinion other than that one? Everyone's just calling him a coward. It feels dishonest. It feels like he was pioneering for something he's not actually brave enough to do himself.
I agree with that. I think he's also trying to impress the new bosses, trying to make himself sound serious,
100%.
trying to shed the Le Batard Show like cast that has been put over him by being on the show and being, the funny guy. Now he's serious Chris Wittyngham. He's no longer
He used to be the funny guy.
Witty the fancy lad.
Exactly. Funny guy
Exactly.
Chris. Yeah.
That's what everyone called him.
Exactly.
Were you guys, or are you guys now ashamed adjacent? Were you ashamed of him for not, for advocating?
I don't think of him. It's not like ashamed or proud. I just don't really have any thoughts.
I had
of
no
his.
idea he called the game over
Yeah,
the
me
weekend.
neither. I saw it. I'm like, good for him, but I'm not watching CONCACAF, whatever the hell.
All right, let's play that video from CONCACAF, whatever the hell.
Assessing his options, tries to get the early cross in and forcing Gavia to lunge at it. felt that one a bit.
I'll say that no play-by-play needed for that then.
All right, that's just cowardice.
It is.
Silence.
We all felt that one. I mean, you can't say that.
Well, and you're sitting there watching this dude grab.
With both hands.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know exactly what's going on. He's waiting there in silence, waiting for the color commentator to say something first.
Ooh, right in the hog.
I'm with Tony on this. It needs to escalate from penis to hog. Right in the hog would have been laugh out loud funny.
Cock-a-calf.
It was a Serie A game.
Is that League's Cup or is that?
Oh my god. You know, during that silence, Witty was just like,
Oh, he was thinking about it.
shit. I hope no one's watching this.
No one's watching this. That's not true.
He said, I hope no one's watching this. From
I don't
the
think he was
LeBatard
hoping
Show.
that, though.
Yeah. Let's see. We're going to talk to Wittyngham. We're going to get him on and ask him why he was such a coward.
I'm proud of Witty. I am. Showing some restraint. He's got a big gig. He's trying to impress the bosses. He's not letting the Le Batard Show, he's not bringing any of this into his broadcast. I think Witty's doing a great job. You can't go penis there, Dan. You can't do it. It's his first couple of weeks on the job. Can't do it.
I feel like, well, it's not. He's been gone for like a year and a half already.
Yeah, but this is a new gig for him, calling games for Paramount and CBS, and he's very excited about it.
It's a bigger job.
It's a bigger gig.
He's on the ascent. He's getting some of the bigger jobs in the sport.
Right.
I feel like if he's doing his job as like a color commentator, play-by-play guy, or whatever it is that he does, right? He says like, well, that doesn't need any explanation. Like, there's a lot of people that don't have penises that like don't know what that pain is. Like maybe you walk them through exactly why that
you should
hurts
be describing
so much.
the pain.
Exactly right. Like you've been there before. You've probably gotten hit there. There's people that haven't. Walk them through it. That's what an analyst does. That's what a good play-by-play person does. Dead air is the worst case scenario. You just say nothing. Get out of here.
Yeah, he should describe exactly why it hurts.
Exactly.
To get
Yeah,
hit in that area.
Explain that sometimes there's a delay. Like, it's when you stub your toe sometimes. There's a delay. You don't feel it right away, but you know it's coming.
Because as someone without a penis, my whole life, no one's ever actually told me or informed me that it hurts to get hit in that area.
See?
Right.
Witty could have filled that void.
You will be able to ask him all of these questions in a few minutes when he
Horrible
comes
phrasing.
on with this. Yes. There's been some bad phrasing over the course of this segment. Can you tell me, Bill, you were gone last week. What did you do with your free time? Did you go anywhere?
I went to Disneyworld, Dan.
Ooh.
How'd that go?
Ow. Disney World with kids is different.
Yeah.
It's great. Love it. I don't believe that. Love kids.
It's work.
You
Let
texted
just
me
say-
something different.
What did I text you?
I'm gonna find it.
I love my children and my family. Love them. Love Disney World. Couldn't do a single thing I wanted to do at Disney World, though.
What did you want to do?
Ride the, rock and roller coaster, Tower of Terror, or any of those things. There's a new Guardians of the Galaxy ride. There's
That
a
one is
whole-
really fun at Epcot.
That's a whole thing. Don't get me started on that because Disney now.
To wait 7 hours for that.
I
ride,
had
too.
Disney figured out, Dan. Like, I had it figured out. I knew exactly how you do the best Disney, how you go on and you reserve your fast passes. And then you elites came in, and now all of a sudden, you can't go to Disney for a reasonable price, number one. You can't ride anything unless you buy this Genie Plus thing, which is
a
$30 a day
That's
per
a whole
person,
other thing.
on top of like $180 just to get in for the ticket. Like, it's a whole thing. Then you can't get more than one at a time. Before it was free, and if you put in the work, you could have a great day at Disney. If you went there and you had like the schedule and you did this whole thing. I drove my family crazy for years. When we had the free Disney, which was planned horribly timing-wise on my part, where I had it for free and then I had kids and then I lost it and now I have to pay, and it's just, it's a whole thing we don't need to get into today. But I used to drive my family crazy because they were bouncing from thing to thing, one side of the park to the other. We got all of our steps in for the year in our Disney trips. I'm telling you, but we went on everything. Now it's impossible to go on all these things. And then even these lightning lanes that you pay for, then there's an additional cost on top of that you have to pay if you want to go on like a newer thing. It's a whole thing. And also, I remember being happier and friendlier than it was.
That's a great point.
Not the friendliest. Not Walt Disney would be rolling in his grave. I'm getting yelled at if I want my Dole Whip in a cone or in a cup. Well, what does a cup look like? What size cup is it? I don't know. It said that it was a cone. Now you're switching up on me. I have to decide cone or cup. Very angry. Very angry the way they were yelling at me. It wasn't nice. It made me feel not good. Yeah, and then I was driving on the expressway, and I was driving past like the Star Wars thing, and you know what I saw? Steel beams. Turns out those aren't mountains. Just the tips of them are mountaintops on the edges of steel beams, and you can see the exposed steel beams. I feel like this is what Walt would not have wanted. He didn't want us to see how things actually worked. I wanted to think I was in Narnia or whatever Star Wars world is called over there, where you see the actual mountaintops, not these steel beams. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's not the case anymore.
Why are you all
waiting in line to take pictures? How many pictures do we need to take with Mickey Mouse?
That's your kid's fault.
We met Mickey like 4 times. I feel like once sufficed per trip, right? We met Mickey. Okay, now we're going to meet Mickey the next day. It's like Mickey remembers us from the day before. We don't need to take another picture with Mickey and then sign the autograph book. And I also think, and I will posit this to the class and tell me what you guys think about this, there should be separate lines for adults who go to Disney World as just adults. Because they really slow everything down for the people that are there with the children. Adults don't need to take pictures with Mickey Mouse, okay? Adults, if you're waiting 45 minutes to meet Mickey Mouse, reprioritize your life, okay? And I don't want to be that guy that says that. Yeah. It's a whole thing.
You're anti-Disney adult?
I'm anti them holding up the lines for children who are there to meet their heroes. When you're there and you're like, oh,
you were just complaining about your children.
I know, I love my children, but that's why it becomes such a chore and it's so much work, is because I'm going and I'm waiting in 50-minute lines to meet these characters because there's all these groups of adults that just want to take pictures with them. Do that when you're a child. Do that at another time.
Why are the rest of you agreeing with
Because
Billy?
I'm right. Because I'm right about all of this, Dan. I'm right.
Well, I don't know how they know that you're right about Disney being less happy and less friendly.
It's not even. Look, it's not even a thing that I'm just making up. No, you're right. Disney, at one point in time, and you can look this up, was the happiest place on earth.
Right.
And guess what happens when you drive in now? You know what the sign says? The most magical place on earth. At some point, someone said, you know what? Yeah. Not as happy as it used to be.
We used to be a proper country.
There are happier places on earth. Someone realized it.
I've only been to Disney like one time.
What?
So I am not, I mean, I didn't grow up in Florida. It was like a big deal to go to Disney World. We only did it once. So I don't have Disney bona fides. Like you guys go there like 10 times a year, I feel like.
No, I can't afford that anymore.
We used
when
to.
you worked for ESPN.
When it was free.
Did you only get like 2 vouchers a year?
2 vouchers, please.
Two, please. Child's play. They used to give us a silver pass. The silver pass was you plus 3 guests.
With park hopper.
What?
With park hopper.
With parking.
You plus 3 guests.
With 20% off at the store.
And the parking situation, I didn't explore because I'm not ballsy enough to do it. But it's just
I've
your
done it.
Disney ID.
I've done it.
Still free?
I've done it twice.
You just show them your Disney ID.
I give it to my brother-in-law
employee
who looks
ID.
nothing like me, and he did it.
That's crazy because now it's $35 to park there. $30, $35, something like that to park there. 3 days, you saved $100 just by showing them your old Disney ID. You get the silver pass, right? So it's you plus 3 guests. Then when you get married, you tell them I got married, and you get an extra silver pass. So you get one, your spouse gets one, plus 3 guests, plus, twice a year, they'll give you 2 free passes that you don't have to be there for, that you can just give as gifts to people.
I think you were
was
just happier when you
great.
used to go to Disney because you weren't paying for it.
It was the best.
Bingo.
Are you kidding me? Oh my God.
You're projecting
I loved it
on
so
everyone
much.
else.
And then like in the holiday time, they send you like popcorn passes and all these things that you go and you wait in a line. Oh, I love it.
But if you're
so
an
much.
ESPN employee and you live in Bristol, realistically, like, are you ever
it's a
using
total
those?
waste. A total waste for those people. Yeah, they go once a year maybe, but a total
Has there been
waste.
an announcement of any kind that it went from the happiest place on earth to the most magical? Like, was there
No,
a
that's one of those
moment?
things you do that under the radar.
Done under the cloak of
Right.
darkness.
Exactly right. You can't tell people that
Who
you're
wants to
doing
admit
that.
the place is no longer happy?
Exactly.
Right.
Used to be the happiest, formerly happiest place on earth doesn't sell as many tickets.
Magical place.
We'll tell you, the Universal Studios employees, they're a lot happier than the Disney
Whoa.
employees.
And it's
They
actually
are.
magical there because they have the Harry Potter stuff.
Yeah,
so.
they're way nicer to you than the people at
Really?
Disney. Yeah, well, I go every year. We take Camp Fiesta, the camp that I'm involved with, to Disney and to Universal. And at Disney now, they used to give us like free passes to skip the lines because we're good dealing with
Yeah.
kids with cancer who are going and can't really wait out in the hot sun.
Yeah.
Now all Disney does is give you those Genie Plus passes that people can pay for. Where at Universal Studios, they're still taking you in. They're asking everybody questions. They're doing it with a smile on their face. Where at Disney, we got yelled at for trying to get a kid an extra bottle of water.
I just Googled the happiest place on earth. Turns out, Finland.
Wow.
Took it from Disney World.
Please.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at LeBatard Show. Did you know that Finland took the happiest place on earth, bona fides, from Disney World?
Since 2023, it seems.
Also put on the poll, where would you prefer to be? The happiest place on earth or the most magical place on earth? Because I think magic includes happiness, but happiness doesn't always include magic.
It's Connecticution. It has to be. I'm 80% sure.
Connecticut.
Kinetic.
I think it's kinetic cutter.
No, man.
I
There's
did.
no way.
I think that's the best one of the available options.
What do you call a person from Connecticut? It can't be a kinetic
Lame.
cutter. Here is Chris Wittyngham. Speaking of lame, give him his introduction. Chris Wittyngham, rising broadcaster, conquering the industry with great professionalism and disappointing our audience and the shipping container with what happened this weekend. So we will allow him to explain himself.
I am 5 minutes removed of saying I'm proud of Chris Wittyngham, and now I'm booing him.
That's right. That is how it works with Stugotz. No thought travels from one sentence to the next with him. No consistency. Nothing
you.
of the sort. Wittyngham, it is nice to see you. What was the reaction? Did you get a lot of general hostility and disappointment from our audience because you were a coward once you reached the heights of broadcasting prestige and you couldn't pull the trigger on penis?
It's Paramount Plus. I mean, come on.
How dare the Super Bowl was on Paramount Plus?
The Super Bowl was on Nickelodeon also. It's Paramount Plus. No one said what channel is the Super Bowl on Paramount Plus. Get out of here, buddy.
I'm so proud of you.
We set streaming records for our ability to stream the Super Bowl on Paramount Plus. I'm not having this. Anyway, I once Ryan Cortez texted me, "You're a coward," I knew that things were going to go poorly for me on the internet and that I was going to get ratted out. Because believe it or not, this has happened before. And I just got away with it. Nobody from the audience happened to be watching. And so whenever this happens, I look at the screen that I'm calling the game from and I go, oh no, am I going to have to say it again? And I've just decided, you know what, guys? I'm out. I'm not doing it. I did it once.
Out. It was your thing.
Ooh.
I know. And you know what happened, Tony? After I did it, by the way, I did it like a year and a half ago. It's been a long time. My goal was that eventually the industry would change and there would be a swarm of people that would come from behind me and realize that this is now acceptable. It's not. I didn't change a thing. Nothing happened. So why am I going to bang my head against this proverbial door and humiliate myself on television? I don't want to do that.
This is how things work. It's not
Giving
gonna
up
be
on the
easy
revolution
for
that
you.
quick?
Exactly. Imagine if George Washington's like 1777, America. Never mind.
Then we'd be living in England right now, and I actually think that'd be kind of nice.
Yeah, you would like that.
He
you
would
freak.
like that.
Witty, you were during the silence during that broadcast after you realized he had been hit in the penis. You 100% were thinking, "Oh, God damn it, not this again!" Right?
Yes,
like that's
absolutely,
what's going through your mind.
100%. And especially, I'm kind of waiting because the last time that this happened, the analyst carried me through it. I forget where it was and when it was, but the analyst just kept talking and talking. I was like, "Thank you for allowing me the out to not have to say this." But once he goes, "No further analysis needed of that," then I have to go, oh no. I have to come up with a quip. I have to say something, and I came up with, well, no further play-by-play needed of that then.
But it
and
seems
I expressed my cowardice.
It seems like you're pinning this on the analyst for saying that. Yeah.
No, I mean, realistically, one can hope. One can hope that the analyst will come to my aid, but in this case, he did not. I don't like this picture-in-picture that's happening right now.
This has been staring
this is
at me
unpleasant.
from the bathroom every single day since we moved in here last
Since you
April.
left. That's on
Every
the bathroom.
single
we can say
day.
Wait,
penis
on the
more.
bathroom or in the bathroom?
No, on the door to
Pee
the
on that,
bathroom.
yeah.
It
On the
reads,
toilet.
we can say penis
The
more.
loo.
It's our giant urinal cake, actually.
Yeah.
We just piss on it. We
Let
take
them
turns.
eat urinal cake. Am I right?
You can't lead a revolt and then just wander off into the bushes scared and have it be because you reached at a more prestigious level of broadcasting. Like, you can't be
It's Paramount Plus.
You can't be proud of yourself there.
Is Apple TV not a big enough platform for you either? I have given up. I've given up my revolution. It's been a year and a half. Not one other broadcaster on one other platform. You can make fun of me for being on Paramount Plus. There are plenty of broadcasters that are on platforms smaller than that don't use the word either. And so why am I going to continue? We made headlines. It turned into a thing on the show. This is a big program with a big reach. And yet somehow I was the only one. Yes, I've given up. I've laid down my sword.
You think Billie Jean King was like, people aren't going along with this whole equality
You're
for
an
women
awful
thing. I'm just
quitter.
gonna
This
give up
cause
on my
isn't
head."
as important.
I don't know what you're talking about. This is a hugely important cause, Witty.
Billie Jean King was fighting on behalf of not having a penis. You're fighting on behalf of being able to say penis. It's not that different.
I would say it's considerably different. The size and significance of the causes.
Depends on the person.
Baby.
I can't believe you're just giving up. I can't believe you're quitting.
Yeah.
You're-
Yeah, I'm quitting. I'm quitting until I lay out a marker. I lay out a challenge to all the other play-by-play broadcasters of America. If one of you, says the word penis on television, I will follow suit and I will return to my cause. But until then, I am laying down my sword because I'm not fighting this battle without an army. I need an army. I needed an army a year and a half ago when I thought I ended my career. I'm not doing this again. I'm not doing this again without having some kind of support, without having some kind of help. Can one other person be an adult and use the anatomically correct word, which is my argument at the time? Can somebody use the anatomically correct term for the male organ in order for me to follow suit? Because I'm not doing this on my own anymore. I issue a challenge to the broadcasting community. If you really want this to happen, can the audience of this program, which, by the way, has not ceased to remind me for 20 months, anytime, anywhere in America is hit in the male organ, that if all I did, if I turned off all other news sources and just checked my Twitter replies, the only thing I would be aware of in this world is where in the world someone has been hit in the penis.
That's great.
Otherwise, I wouldn't be aware of anything.
How do
Why
I
can't the
subscribe to
audience
that?
bother other people into doing this?
Well,
The only
no.
It's
person
your crusade.
You're the pioneer here. Yeah,
Right.
if anything, your message
Well, it's
is
time for
sticking.
other people to join the crew. Clearly, I'm not a
No.
convincing crusader.
No,
I'm
you
not.
have an
So
army.
why am I going to keep crusading when I'm not good at it?
Let's name some names. Burkhart,
Yeah.
you're next.
Challenge them
yeah,
individually.
Burkhart.
Hashtag penis challenge.
Challenge them by name.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest, male organ sounds dirtier to me than penis.
100%.
I mean,
Hog is still there, guys.
Yeah, just make sure you guys tag all of these commentators on Twitter. The Chris,
Yeah.
Chris
Hashtag
Whittingham
penis challenge.
hashtag penis challenge.
Yeah.
No,
Make
no,
sure
stop
you tag
tagging me
Witty.
in
Yeah,
this. No,
tag
this isn't
at
about me
Chris
anymore.
Whittingham,
Make
at
sure
Don't
Kevin
tag
Burkhardt,
me.
Exactly.
I'm
at
done
Tom
with
Brady,
this.
Rob
Hashtag
Costas.
save penis
at Bob
challenge.
Costas, at Wolf
Tag
Blitzer.
Big Cat from Barstool. He's the only one that's done this since.
It was a heck of a penis, though, right?
What, the defender for AC Milan?
Yes.
I have no idea.
What?
I have no idea.
what are you doing? Go sit in the penalty box.
So
weird.
Get
Two
out of
hands.
here. It's
Whittingham.
It's
Took it
a
too far.
strange follow.
Witty,
What's the
someone in the
matter with
room was
you?
suggesting, I don't remember who, that when this happens, you should describe the act, because you said there's, we don't have to describe what this person's going through. But there's a lot of people that don't have penises that don't know what they're going through, that it may be helpful to describe the pain that they're going through.
Do you not think that information has made its way into the wider public? Poor Matteo Gabbia, by the way. I'm watching him writhing around in pain right now on the screen. Horrifying. Poor guy. But it's fairly self-evident, one would imagine.
Did you feel like a coward while you were silent? Because the silence was long. Let's play this. Let's play the entire clip so that he can stew in the shame of his cowardice and he can hear how much silence there is.
Assessing his options, tries to get the early cross and forcing Gabbia to lunge at it.
Immediately, obviously.
He's holding his male organ with his right and left hand. He's making it obvious to all that they're...
Deeply unpleasant.
Yeah.
We all felt that one a bit. I'll say that no play-by-play needed for that then.
Just disgusting.
Despicable.
I'm ashamed of you. I've always been proud of you. Your entire career, you've been a pillar that has made us and me proud of everything that you've done. And now look at you at your big moment, when you could have ascended even higher in the industry by being not just professional broadcaster Chris Whittingham, but controversial professional broadcaster Chris Whittingham. You declined. You took an exit ramp on pioneering, on penis earring.
I decided that I wasn't, because you're right, it was a very long time. And I knew that if anybody from the audience was watching, that they would absolutely pull me up on it. But I decided in that moment, I'm done with this. I'm no longer going to continue with this pursuit. And it was a fruitless endeavor, albeit it created some content. And by the way, there's no shortage of me saying humiliating things that don't get repeated on this program every single day. You guys seemingly play the rejoin of me saying Zaddy every single day. So there's plenty of content available. I mean, look, I've humiliated myself plenty, and I decided in that moment, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore until someone else joins me.
Yeah, unless Joe Buck does it, and then you're good.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I would settle for anyone doing any college basketball game on a weekend. There's 4 million of them available on the ESPN network of platforms. There's any number of broadcasts of any number. I'll take international ones. I've been sent the clip, I guess, of these like Indian announcers describing someone getting hit like by the post of a soccer match, like very descriptively. I'll take anybody else doing this.
Your move,
and
AJ
then
Ricketts.
I will rejoin.
You are passing the buck, and I was hoping you would pass Joe Buck. I was hoping that in your career you would just go past him, and instead of leading, you're following. You're quitting instead of leading, and you're telling us you're quitting and will only do this as a follower, not as a
That's
leader.
correct.
I mean,
That's correct. I'm a coward. And you know what? I'm okay in this particular instance with my level of cowardice. You know what? It's been, how long has it been? It was like April of 2022 when I did that. I went home. I laid down in my bed in a cold sweat. I was horrified at what I had potentially done to my career. And I didn't like how I felt that day. And 22 months later, it happened again. And you know what? I decided I didn't like how that felt. I don't like being alone. I was alone. And no one was there to help me, only to mock.
By the way, Witty, do you want your old job back? We have an opening here.
Yeah. I'm good.
Can you take this thing, please? I'm tired of looking at it.
we are all tired of looking at it.
Toss in the bin, then.
No,
No
I'm
one
gonna
needs
send it
to
to
be
you.
looking at that.
What's your
Yeah,
address?
is there a garbage at the new studio?
What's your address? Say your address.
Let's
on
mail it to him. Let's
Yeah.
mail it to
Okay.
him. And
Yeah,
get
say
it
it on the air.
Say your
What's
address.
your address?
What's
Yeah.
your phone
No,
number?
I'm not.
See you later.
1011.
Say hog more.
Say penis
Hog.
challenge. Say
Hog.
penis
Hog.
challenge. Say penis challenge.
Hashtag penis challenge at Bob Costas.